So come open a book and join a story about the beginning of what I believe is a Crisis on Infinite Earths and a Justice League in the CW universe. Tonight, welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing The Flash, Elseworlds Part 1. And with this, we have a little bit of an expansion to the multiverse. Remember we were told there were only 52 or maybe 53 Earths? Well, guess what? Earth X isn't the only hidden Earth. We have Earth 90 now. But okay, for those of you that don't know what I'm do here, I review stories, I come up with theories on how and why we tell stories, and in general, I just spend way too much time thinking about silly comic book stories and stuff like it. If that sounds interesting, click subscribe, because in the new year, we're going to go full whole hog on this. But alright, this isn't the first crossover, this isn't even the second crossover. We've done this before. We did a 3-night crossover or a 4-night crossover with the Invasion, and that was pretty cool. And then in the aftermath of the Invasion, we did another huge crossover where we dealt with Earth X. And Earth X really brought a lot of themes in that made us think about Crisis on Infinite Earths. In the corner there, that's the Anti-Monitor. More on him later. But in general, Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow have never seen anything like this. The Monitor is a step up in what's going on, and so too is what happens tonight. But we're really going to test out how user-friendly these shows are, because I have not watched a single episode of Arrow yet this season, and I'm 2 episodes behind on The Flash. So let's see how well I can handle a crossover. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Okay, we start off with the whole eugenics thing, which is bad Nazi thinking, and the whole introduction to Dr. Destiny, but I'm going to just skip all that and come back to it later, hopefully, because I really have to talk about the switcheroo. First, I wanted to give Ollie a hand, because for someone who does not always think quick on his feet, he totally picked up on and was all like, oh, right, honey, I love you too, Iris West. And even Barry, who sometimes makes stupid mistakes, was all like, oh, I'm Oliver Queen, I'm the Green Arrow, which was great, and they could totally work on saving their secret identities. But oh man, watching Green Arrow have to try to be Flash and not be able to actually do it because he doesn't know how the powers work was hysterical. Okay, so cold open aside, then we jump into the main story. And I have to say, I'm a little unimpressed with Dr. D's thinking big. I mean, come on. Really? Swapping Green Arrow and Flash, that's the best you got? So the MacGuffin of tonight's episode, well, the whole crossover, really, lets you rewrite reality as you see fit. I want you to think about what you could do. You could make the world entirely different. And in the real world, there's not infinite, well, there might actually be infinite Earths, I don't know, I'm not a scientist. But think about how many little things you could change, or how many big things. But okay, sorry, we'll get back to changing things in a minute. Because, boom, we get an origin for Amazo, including Ivo Labs. And point blank, that was brilliant. Oh my god. That just is a scary-ass robot, but now, it's only so scary on Earth 1. It's way scarier when you have someone, say, a Kryptonian to duplicate powers of. And of course, tonight is the night that would normally be a Supergirl night, which is the only one of the shows I'm fully caught up on, so. I will say that we did know she was coming in sooner rather than later. But before we touch on that, let's talk about what happens when they try to explain to Team Flash. And I love the fact that they use nanites and a punch to the face to take the two of them out, just in case, until they find out what's really going on. Even having watched the two of them obviously not performing properly, they still have to wonder what's going on. And the idea of them being switched in their minds, if not their bodies, should be occurring to them. I mean, we've seen people switch bodies before, especially on Team Flash. Because remember at the end of last year, someone was in Ralph's body? Either way, it still seems like a stretch that someone would only swap these two, and why. But that's what brings us to the next phase of the story. And the thing I ask all the time, hey, wait a minute, does that really affect the other world? And then we get the really great, heartwarming moment of Down Home on the Farm. And you know what? That blew me away. Now, as much as I might have some problems with the discussion of secret identity, because Kara's secret identity is protecting who again? Maybe her mom, but realistically, everyone else is a superhero on her Earth, but that's notwithstanding. It was a great conversation, a great moment. And even if I disagree with the thought process, there's a lot of great going on in that scene. Of course, well, Barry and Oliver are over on Supergirl's Earth recruiting her. We get our first big Amazo fight, and it happens off screen for the most part. Amazo duplicates Vibe and Elongated Man and Caitlyn's powers, and then boom, we have a threat for the immediate first episode. Now, again, we're not really done with Tyler's Superman, nor are we really done with Lois Lane, because we know they're going to play at least some part in other episodes coming forward. But for right now, Kara knows the truth because her Earth wasn't affected by the MacGuffin book. And because of that, we now need her help. But again, an Amazo's scary enough if he has Flash's powers, Green Arrow's attitude, Vibe, Elongated Man, and Killer Frost powers. Do we really need to give him Kryptonian powers too? And silly me, we don't have one Kryptonian. We have two. Although I did like Cisco asking, I'm sorry, who are you? A friend. Snap. I was all like, yeah. Oh wait, no, we don't want Superman. No, we don't want Supergirl either. No, Amazo bad. Mirakuru, yeah, nope, bad. But we also had some fun with the basics of Amazo, you absorb our strengths, you absorb our weaknesses, that sort of thing. But also, getting to watch them do the whole face-off, doing impressions of each other, was pretty fun too. Overall, the episode was a blast. And there's a lot of Elseworlds you can draw from, a lot of things you can do, that we could have 100 episodes that are crossover like this with the Monitor. But let's not forget, we still have the Monitor and good old Dr. D, Dr. Destiny, to worry about. And remember I said I'd come back to the whole eugenics thing, the whole idea that in order to breed better, you need to take two perfect specimens and mix them? Gee, I wonder if that's what's coming up. Now, I know we have a lot of other things to cover, that in the next couple of episodes we're going to have a bunch of things, including a new Batwoman showing up, and an explanation about what's been going on in Gotham. And yeah, I did totally get the Smallville reference. Somebody save me. But at the same time, what I've gotten so far out of this is just how much fun the CW can make these shows and these crossovers. And I think it's actually made me want to go back and try Arrow again. And it definitely makes me want to catch up on Flash. But it definitely guarantees that tomorrow night I'll be sitting my butt in the seat to see if I can see all sorts of crazy Elseworlds. And I do wonder how they're going to pull off what the Monitor's up to, and whether or not we're going to see an anti-Monitor. But I think we'll talk about that tomorrow. For now, I want to say that I also have to say, I put this image here about the Firestorm effect because I totally wanted to say which heroes they nerfed and they didn't. They managed to write a perfect episode, one where even with Superman and Supergirl, everyone had their own way and their own bit to do. As this goes on, I'll also talk about my theory about what I'd like to see them do from now on for crossovers. But right now I'm curious about John D. and your thoughts on him. If you had the ability to rewrite the Arrowverse, what sort of changes would you make if you had that Book of Destiny? Let me know in the comment section and maybe I'll address it tomorrow. Or maybe in a separate video after the mid-season breaks. For now, if you could like and share my video, and of course click that subscribe button, it would be appreciated. Right now I want to give a big shout out thanks to my Patreons. And always, even if you can't support me with money, you can support me by just talking about what you think about the heart of the story we're telling. And in this case, the story is the story of Elseworld, the story of what if, the story of what then, and the story of becoming lost in your own anger or finding your own joy. I hope you have a good night, and thanks for watching.